he has now denied bail for Diddy. So bail is denied for Sean Combs. I want to bring in Misty Maris, our legal analyst. I want to bring back in Rahima Ellis. Rahima, what happened? Because I think as of about 6 minutes ago, the judge wasn't even in the room. This happened really quickly.
It happened very quickly, Hallie. The judge had sat down at the bench and he wasted no time talking about, I'm going to read this because it's important. The government notes that the appropriate provision that makes detention the appropriate remedy. The defendant must prove he poses no risk of flight or danger to anyone in the community. The Second Circuit has made clear that there are situations that are out of the ordinary and which noted that the circumstances are personal, do not warrant a release. For that reason, the government submission there is the court disagrees with the defense and does not trigger mandatory. There is no ambiguity to the rule in the defense favor. If the defendant was able to say that he is not a danger to the community, he could not meet that burden. Once again, took him no time to do this.
A minute.
He has denied bail. A minute, Hallie. I was looking to see, because, you know, things are coming very quickly, what the reaction would be from, there's a large crowd that is gathered across the street. They put up extra barricades. They brought out extra police in anticipation that Sean Diddy Combs would be walking out of that front door of the courthouse. That is not going to happen. He is going to be sent back to detention in Brooklyn, where he has been since September, 9 months already, and it's going to be a little while longer.
That's dirty, bro. That's just flat out dirty. I think that they are pissed off because his defense team, his legal defense team, absolutely ran circles around the prosecutors. The prosecutors took on this case, and I'm thinking that they had the expectation, especially from the court of public opinion, that they would get a conviction on Diddy, and they didn't get a conviction. And now you see them basically lashing out because there is a large outpouring of both support and an outcry of people that are mad at the fact that he did not get convicted on the most serious charge. And the charge that he did get convicted on, the legal experts are basically saying that he probably will either get time served or very little time as a recommendation based off of the different types of guidelines that is recommended or that judges go by. I'm not even so sure that he's going to get the time that's recommended as time served because he's already been over a year inside of jail. But the fact that he did beat the charges is absolutely pissing everybody off, and people are feeling some type of way about it because they wanted Diddy to go down, they wanted him to snitch, they wanted to find some kids, and none of that was revealed. I myself remained objective. I stood 10 toes down and I said, I believe in our legal system, even though I believe that it needs to be reformed, that they had trumped up all of these charges on him as though they had some smoking gun and some evidence outside of Cassie's testimony that they had freak-offs. What Diddy has basically done, in my eyes, is immoral when it comes to looking at it either from a spiritual perspective or even just as a man, right? You never want a man to ever touch your woman or a man to touch your girl, but that's not what he was being prosecuted for. They were basically trying to lock Diddy up for the rest of his life. They initially denied him bail, and so he had to wait. He never went home. He actually flew to New York when he got arrested on purpose because that was the expectation of him getting arrested. His legal team obviously did a phenomenal job in destroying the credibility of several different witnesses, including Dawn Richard, who worked with him on his past album and on multiple different albums, while at the same time acting as though she wanted something when in reality, I believe she just wanted money and she wanted to be a Me Too victim and piggyback off of Cassie in order to be able to get a bag. I also believe that there are several other people that wanted him to go down as far as our federal government, Homeland Security, different agencies within the federal government, because this is one of the ways in which they get their funding. They get their funding according to multiple different sources that I've spoken to on multiple different platforms. They get their funding by prosecuting big cases. And at this time, there probably was no bigger case than a former person that got the key to the city and Sean Diddy Combs. And now I believe that they're seething. This also shows that there can be bias within judges. There's no way that Diddy should be held, even if you wanted to make a case for him saying and being held on bond because he a flight risk and you don't want him to be a Russell Simmons, and be over in Bali somewhere, trying to avoid ever getting charged and being extradited back to the United States of America. So that's why he's probably over there. But again, that's just speculation. It's nowhere in the world that Diddy, who has an exceptional amount of assets, homes, cars, he still owns the majority of his catalog. I'm pretty sure that Diddy is pretty set and well off financially, that he would ever risk that to be considered a flight risk or a danger to others when he's literally just beat the case and his lawyers were seeking for him to be released on bail in order to await sentencing. But they are moving with the speed of an Olympic sprinter. We know that people still want Diddy to go down. I'm going to be covering several different reactions to how Diddy have beat the case and how people feeling about it. And of course, it's a lot of feminists and even conservatives that are wolves in sheep's clothing that are trying to say that Diddy is a monster when in reality, Diddy was in no way, shape, or form ever supposed to be in a courtroom facing life in prison for abuse and domestic violence charges. Let's continue on, and then we're going to continue to have this conversation because this woman right here, I covered her on the Millionaire Morning Show. She was one of the people that was an advocate for Cassie, and she felt some type of way about Diddy beating the charges. And instead of them saying, listen, justice prevailed, it was what it was, she had something to say, and this is their reaction to Diddy being denied bail.
We have some breaking news right now. The judge has denied bail for Sean Combs. That's what I'm hearing from our team. The judge has denied bail, so he will remain in custody between now and sentencing. More to come on this, but the hearing and news that we were waiting for this afternoon, whether or not Sean Diddy Combs would receive bail, his bail has been denied. Bernarda, in just getting that news, I'm curious your initial reactions. Did it surprise you?
I am not surprised that this judge denied Sean Combs' release pending sentencing. You have to think that this judge is in a different position than when he first heard the bail application when Sean Combs was first arrested, because this judge has sat throughout the entire trial and has heard all the evidence that was submitted before this jury and evidence that was not submitted before this jury. So he has such a huge insight as to who Sean Combs is. Also taken into account that he knows what the guidelines are. And those guidelines, even if you take it from the perspective of the defense of 21 to 27 months, or you take it from the prosecution, whether it's over 50-something months, he's going to sentence him at least within those guidelines and not.
So basically, they're trying to paint Diddy out to still be anything other than whatever it was that he was convicted for. So many different people, including several feminists, are broken. They are absolutely destroyed at the fact that Diddy's legal defense team, and we all said it, and again, I was 10 toes down on the Monday night shows. I was 10 toes down on After Hours. I was 10 toes down on the Millionaire Morning Show, and I'm 10 toes down right here, right now, and that I believe in justice. I believe in our court system. I believe in innocent until proven guilty, and there's so many different people that did not, cannot, and is unable to be able to effectively defend themselves the way that Diddy has. And I do not believe that he's still a flight risk. He should be released immediately. But, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. He's still going to be facing at least probably 6 months to a year, maybe, but I'm going to be on top of it. Let me know what y'all think inside of the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Hanley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. Peace.